Hey everyone, we are live. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. My name is I. I'm the host of this weekly Facebook live show. I created this show because I believe our society has changed a lot. Social media and technology play a huge role in our changing society. As an educator, I want to create a digital space where we can come together and be students and teachers at the same time and nurture a sense of community where we can learn from each other. On this show, I interview leading professionals such as Serena Ryan to discuss topics related to social media, digital marketing, education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for being here. And if you are a returning attendee, you know how much I love you and how much your support means to me. And I really hope you are benefiting from this content. And if you are watching this on future, as on replay, thank you so much, future people. I know quite a few people check out the replay because we do have a global audience here and the time difference can be quite challenging. And if you can let me know where you are joining us from in the comment section, that will be greatly appreciated. And today, I'm so honored to have Serena join us live from Australia. Yeah. It is Thursday morning, 7 a.m. So we are already in the future. And we're talking about the future, right, Facebook? And Serena today is going to discuss with us about Facebook ads and how we can leverage Facebook video ads sequence to raise brand awareness and to retarget warm audience. And Serena is an amazing Facebook ad strategist. She's also a writer for Social Media Examiner. I read quite a few of Serena's article, and I loved her insights, and I'm constantly blown away by her depth of knowledge on this subject. And Serena also has some of her personal training and courses to share with us approaching the end of the show. So please make sure that you stay until the end of the show because I'm telling you guys, Facebook ads, Facebook Messenger ads, or chatbots, what we are going to discuss later in the show, they are popular. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And just want to say hi to Mike. Thank you so much for joining us. And hey, Jim. And hey, Ro, oh, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And let us know where you are joining us from. And welcome to the show, Serena. Thank you so much.
Hi, sorry, it's I, right? I think
yes.
We talk over messaging as opposed to in person. I'm really happy to be here. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love to actually geek out on talking about Facebook ads and also the wider social media and how it can benefit our businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you guys, I'm also going to share. Hey, Suzanne, thank you for joining us. I've also shared the link in the comment section. I will make sure to pin the link if you want to join the video chat to say hi to Serena. And please feel free to click on the link and or ask any of your questions related to Facebook ads. Because I know some of you messaged me privately saying that you do have a number of questions related to Facebook ads. It doesn't matter like how advanced or intermediate or basic you are. We love all sorts of questions. And thank you for joining us again. And I hope you are safe. Jim, thank you. Yeah, so I'm just going to get started with my questions here. And everyone, please feel free to live tweet or comment or share. And if you love my content, please give my page a like or join my Facebook group where you can stay updated with upcoming guest information. So how did you get into Facebook ads, Serena? And maybe you can share with us one example where effective usage of Facebook ads helped you or your client to achieve successful business outcome.
Really good questions. I found when I started my business, 4 years ago, for me, I was very focused on doing organic and getting organic right. And the whole idea of doing ads, I thought, well, make the most of what you have available to you first, was my approach. And it wasn't until I went to Social Media Marketing World 2017 that, yeah, I have to sort of, it's almost like count on my fingers. How many years ago? Because it feels like it was almost light years. But 2017, I went there and I saw Dennis Yu and Logan Young speak. And it was a moment for me to see, for the first time really, the synergy between organic and paid, that you can't have paid working effectively unless you've got organic working first. And I thought, oh, this is it. I get it. It was like the penny dropped. I thought, right, I need to master Facebook ads. And it will work in line with how I believe we need to actually make the most of what we have available for free first. And when we do that, it makes perfect sense. It's like you only amplify what's working, and you only know what's working if you understand organic and your online presence first. And that put me on a journey to immerse myself in this world. And it really, I had to create the time to do it, as in to master it, and they were able to help me see the way to do it. So I'm a very big advocate of what they do because of the structure they put around what we all should be doing well. And I found how I've applied that to myself is I use myself as the test case before I started getting clients, because I'll start with what I have.
Yeah.
And for me, I found systematically my organic, once I could understand what was working so I could see what my insights were, I was able to tweak and iterate and keep going. I look at content as being this, it's the fuel for our presence and for our business goals, and without content, we can't go anywhere.
Absolutely.
So I would put fuel in the tank and I'd see how it performed. I'm like, well, okay, that's going okay. Let's repeat what's going okay. And then, okay, that's not going okay. We won't do that one again, but we'll just keep going, keep putting fuel in. And I found that people started to take notice and the content started to get better. And I had some brutally honest feedback from people telling me my videos were terrible, and that's okay. I just kept going. And then I had clients starting to come to me. It wasn't something that happened overnight, but systematically, I think we've been doing it now since I started focusing on it March 2017. I'm now doing it for clients, and a big turning point for me was seeing, I applied it for one of my clients who I'd had to optimize organically. We've been working together for 2 years, and we started doing paid, testing the water, doing the $1 a day concept that Dennis and Logan talk about. And I thought, we'll just apply it. And looking at the insights, they doubled their visibility, more than doubled it. We got 237% increase by doing $1 a day.
That's amazing.
And that led to more people inquiring. And they're incredibly happy. And we're doing more and more with them now because they're seeing the benefit. And that is how I got into Facebook ads, and I continue to do it now. And I love being able to set people up, understand they're organic, and then optimize it. And it's become my core part of my business.
That's like, it's such a great example. I just want to say hi. Hey, Deborah, thank you for joining us. She's from Singapore. That is such a great example. So for this particular person, $1 a day, like how long has this person been doing $1 a day, and how much money that this person spent, if you remember, and to kind of achieve that level of outcome and result?
Well, the way you first apply the $1 a day concept is you understand what your organic is doing first. So you put your content out there, you check your insights, and in your insights, what we're looking for is standards of excellence. We're looking to see that more than average number of views are actually longer than the average. What that means is an average view is 6 seconds, and a view is qualified by Facebook as 3 seconds. So if you get total views on a video, It is measuring how many people have watched that video for 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We know that 3 seconds is not enough to gauge a level of interest, so we look for 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that if we can get more than 50% of total views being 10 seconds or more, we know that this is a piece of content that's being engaged with reasonably.
Mm-hmm.
So when we see that organically, we then put $1 a day behind that for 7 days to see if it maintains those standards of excellence. And so we go back and we'll check and we'll say, yes, okay, this content has legs. So then we'll put that into a funnel.
Yeah.
And what that means is it's like if they've seen that and it's performing well, then we'll show them another video.
Yes.
Because as you know, it's you don't instantly meet someone and go, yes, we're doing business today. It just doesn't happen that way. It's not like it's very rare, like for a relationship to go from one introduction to instantly business.
Exactly.
And that analogy around marriage and dating, and we talk about relationships. This doesn't happen on one night stands don't typically turn into. I say typically because I know there's always exceptions, but they don't actually turn into marriage. So we need to actually use Facebook as a relationship building tool, and that's how we apply the process. And for this particular client, we did that. We said, right, okay, we've got this budget. We'll see what is working. And we made sure that if they saw a video and it performed and they engaged with that video for more than 10 seconds, we'll show them another video. And then show them another video after that.
Yeah.
And it enables you to build the relationship. And we did this on really small budgets. We just continued using, $1 a day, essentially. And it was for them to test the water as well, because when you're in that learning phase, you're not really sure what's working. There's no need to throw huge dollars at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one mistake, you mentioned so many great points, right? The first, we need to really look at our insights. And I want to ask the people who join us live, how often do you actually go to your Facebook page and check insights? I think that is something I was not doing when I started on this journey. I also love how you mentioned standards of excellence, and we will discuss that in a few seconds. Another mistake I made was I always, every single time when I did an ad, I always targeted the cold audience. I never actually leverage the warm audience. And maybe you can also elaborate on that. And that was such a huge mistake when I attended Dennis Yu, their workshops, like, oh my God, shoot. I have every single time I was just using, on Facebook, you can just do a boost without using the ads manager. That's what I did. Every single time I just save and create a new audience, which is always a cold audience. I never utilize the warm audience feature, which is a huge mistake. So, yeah.
I think what I've learned as well is we have this, we want to get our message out. And I found that I've also been like this as well. When you want to get your message out, you naturally think, oh, who would like to hear my message? And you want to push it out. And that's where you could lead to a cold audience. Like, oh, yes, okay, because there's this opportunity. Excuse me. Gotta love that. It was just an alarm to make sure I was awake. I'm awake, just in case. Yep. You naturally want to put yourself out there, and you want to use, I know you can go in there and find interests to create those cold audiences. It's looking at it and going, well, there is a way to actually flick that switch and use a lot more tools available through Facebook. And when I could actually see when you can switch how you approach your content to being, well, instead of it actually being what you want to put out, what do people want to receive?
Yeah.
And when we look at it like that, that's where the metrics are actually really valuable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have this great question from Deborah. She was asking if $1 a day works, and how many people can reach. And actually, that's one of my questions. Like maybe we can jump to that question. So Facebook ads are getting more and more expensive nowadays. So many people are doing Facebook ads. So how much budget should we work? And $1 just seems like such a little amount of money. And can this $1 actually help us our content get anywhere? So like in terms of budget and the reach. So maybe you can address that question, Serena.
It's a really good question, Deborah, and I admit I was apprehensive about it, and I've learned there's only a way I can actually talk about this is from experience. And the dollar a day works when this is why your metrics, your insights are so key. Mm-hmm. You have to go in and understand what is working, because the way Facebook's algorithm works is that it will amplify content for you that is being engaged with. So if that content is being engaged with, it's already got good reach. So the dollar a day is really adding fuel to the fire. It's that opportunity to increase that reach. So it doesn't work just on, it's not linear when you think, you'll get 10 for, $1. It actually goes exponentially. So you don't put dollar a day behind anything. You have to make sure it's hitting standards of excellence before you do it, and then it will grow exponentially from there. And to give you an idea, by doing $1 a day on an ad that's currently running for a client, their page likes are sitting around 100. So they're considered like a very small page. They are getting over 1,000 reach a week out of that $1 a day working on only one video. And that what's happening there is because that video has been highly engaged with and continues to be highly engaged with, it's getting a good relevance score, and that actually ties into how it works exponentially for you. That dollar, you're actually getting a really high return on investment on it. You have to make sure your content is performing. You have to regularly be checking those insights and making sure that people are still engaging with it. And consistently I see it does work, and you can actually get good results off $1 a day.
Yeah. I love how. Oh, I hear some echo. Did you guys hear an echo? Anyway, it might be that window. So I love how Mike shared here, spend like $10 and give additional 3K views. And also recently, and Dennis helped me boost, do an ad on one of my videos, which is a minute and a half. And we spent $25, and I gained, I think it's still growing, 26 or 29K, 29,000 views. It is crazy. Like I was like, oh my God, $25, I get that much. And think about traditional marketing, like how many additional views and engagement, things like that you can get from $25. Barely nothing, right? So that was like really interesting. I also want to try to show how many of you are familiar with lookalike audience, customized audience, and saved audience. If not, I can share my screen real quick. And you were also talking about, Serena, the standard of excellence, which I love that concept, because there is so much content of videos you don't even know which one is good. What is some like evaluation or rubric that we can rely on to evaluate the videos? So maybe you can explain the standard of excellence in terms of viewing video content.
Yeah, it's about understanding if your content is performing. So standards of excellence, it's knowing that there's a benchmark, that your content is getting reasonable engagement, to know that should it be amplified or not. And when we do that, it just means that instead of actually going, I was working with a client and they were saying, well, I boost posts because I want to promote an event. And I said, well, instead of actually having it as that approach of actually wanting to push out content because you want to promote an event, flick that around, and you need to actually test the content, check your insights and see what is actually being engaged with, and then boost that instead of automatically thinking I need to get my message out and therefore that's where the money goes. And to switch that around for them, they've now been able to get their events booked out. Whereas previously they couldn't. The reason they came to is they couldn't get anyone to actually come to the event.
Mm-hmm.
So standards of excellence, you actually need to see what is being engaged with, what content is working.
Mm-hmm.
And if your content doesn't hit those markers, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love actually the way that Dennis explains it. It's like you think in professional athletes, and we have them, like say, playing basketball, and they go for shoots at the hoop. They don't get everyone in the hoop. It just doesn't happen. But they keep shooting.
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep shooting and then go, okay, well, that's how we got that one in. What did we do there that actually made that work? And then we can go, let's either replicate that or we amplify that. Or we could repurpose that too.
Yeah.
Because we can turn that content and put that onto another platform as well and test it out there. So take it over to LinkedIn or take it over to Twitter. And we want to work with what's working. So if we don't actually see things hitting standards of excellence, it's actually not a bad thing. We just need to know that in the first place. And that was why I was talking about your video views, making sure that they're more than average and we're actually getting content, getting good visibility before we even consider putting money behind it.
Yeah, that's very important. And standards of excellence. I think there's one question from Suzanne, and I hope Serena answered that question. She was asking, what in particular do you focus on when you look at the insights? So I think you kind of mentioned this, to look at like video engagement and how many seconds people are viewing. And the average is 6 seconds. So if you have like 10 seconds or maybe a few minutes, that's pretty good. I think that's an indication that you should spend a few dollars or to put behind this piece of content to gain more engagement. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And I look for, it's definitely view time. I look for likes, comments, and shares. And a benchmark I look for, I love to see if there's a lot more, like shares are gold. If we know that content is being shared, it's actually something I'm always looking for as well, because you know that that's going to exponentially get your reach out there. And if your reach is out there, then you've got more engagement. So I'm looking for that as well. And I think it's essentially, they're the main things I look for. I want to see that we're getting higher than average views. If I know that it's 3 seconds is what's qualifying a view, and then it's 6 seconds is the average, if people are watching it for more than 6 seconds and a lot more than 6 seconds, then we go, okay, this has got legs. We can work with it.
Yeah. And so, thank you for joining us, Jessica. And people are giving you some good feedback. So I'm going to do a screen share real quick. And before we talk about Serena's Facebook video ad sequence, which is amazing. I will also share her article and that she wrote for Social Media Examiner. All of you should visit that article, and we are going to discuss that in a second. But before we do that, I want to do a quick screen share. I hope this is going to work, and to show you some of the analytics and where you can go to customize, lookalike, save audience, things like that. And you do have to create a Facebook Ads Manager account first. And so fingers crossed. I also shared one article I wrote where I discussed what Serena mentioned, standards of excellence. That's what I use nowadays to evaluate my video content. I do need to do a better job at promoting and doing Facebook ads. I'm not very consistent. So I'm going to share my screen. And I hope you can see this. Okay, I think you can see. And so this is where I do like the magic behind my, please correct me if I say anything wrong or incorrect, Serena. You know a lot more than me. I'm just like, my understanding is so basic, but I just want to show you guys, because when someone first showed me this, I was like, wow, this actually makes sense. I didn't even know how to navigate this. And you go to this Facebook Ads Manager, and then you can select this and audience. And one thing I did wrong, as I mentioned earlier, is I was always creating a new saved audience every single time when I boosted something on my Facebook page, which is a cold audience. And so if you click on audience, it's a little bit slow because I'm doing the live streaming and also trying to show you this page. And you can actually see that Facebook, I love how Serena mentioned that we need to trust Facebook, the system, to help us find the best audience who is already resonating with our content. I hope this is showing. And you can see from here, create audience, you have customized audience and lookalike audience and saved audience. Maybe you can briefly explain the differences among the three, Serena, if you don't mind.
Yeah, excuse me. The custom audience is one that you can create based on engagement with your content. And there's a number of different types of audiences that you can actually create. You can select if someone's engaged with your video for 3 seconds, or I talk about 10 seconds, or if there's 25%, 50%. I generally build audiences of 10 seconds. I say generally.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it can be content across Facebook and also Instagram. We can also build audiences of other engagement pieces as well, as you've got coming up here, such as website traffic, and that's really valuable as well. So to be able to build these audiences, we need to make sure that it's beneficial to have all your plumbing, so your Pixel installed as well. So we've got, you know, as many options as we can there. So you actually think about who it is, actually the goal of why you're actually doing it. But you actually got to have that in mind, because that will actually help you determine what audience you're going to talk about, and then what content is going to be targeted for that audience. Before I create audiences, I like to actually sit down and think out what goal I want to achieve, and then that actually helps determine the audiences that I create.
Exactly. Yeah. Your
custom audiences are there. Now, your lookalike audiences, I get quite excited because I see a lot of opportunity with this. Is essentially you create things like your custom audiences, and you have this ability to make a lookalike audience. Use Facebook in all its glory of being able to select. You will say, this is my audience that I already have, and you can then create an audience and give Facebook the opportunity to give you an audience that looks like that audience that you haven't targeted before. And so then it works out who looks like your audience that you currently have.
Absolutely.
And then it's a whole new audience you can go and share your content with. And I love how this works, because I can see it helps you avoid burnout of content. It gives it a new audience, and it helps you reach people you've never had interaction with.
Absolutely.
So they both work really well. And it's when people are saying, oh, I'm noticing things changing and Facebook taking away bits of functionality, I would say if people are watching and they're going, well, how do I work with all these changes? You were saying it before, once you understand not targeting cold audiences, look at the people you have, look at the data you have access to already, and use Facebook's tools to its maximum, because there's actually this huge opportunity for you to reach new audiences and to get a lot of value out of being in Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you select I hope this is beneficial to you, and let me know in the comment section if showing the screen share is helpful. And so what Serena was talking about, which was a big mistake I made, and you can see from all the, I'll show you real quick, from all the ads I did, basically I only used the save audience before, which is just a cold audience every single time. And instead, you really want to, like, for example, Serena was talking about here, different ways, like say we're doing video, you can target people who already consumed 10 seconds of your video, and to retarget them, this is already a warm audience, and you can ask them to do something additional. They are more likely to follow your call to action than a saved or a cold audience. So I think this is a really powerful feature. And there's another question I want to ask you, Serena, real quick, because someone was asking the audience size earlier. So for example, here, lookalike audience, can you quickly explain the audience size here? What does the number mean? And what's your recommendation in terms of choosing a number on this scale?
I stick with 1% because the bigger you go, the less relevant it is. So I don't go up the scale, and that's by choice that I've stayed there. And if anyone has learnings around doing bigger audiences on that, I'm all ears because I always want to learn about it. But my preference is to stick with 1 because that I find that's most relevant.
Awesome. Thank you. And before we go to your amazing article, and because Suzanne was asking about insights, what you are looking at. So I just want to show you real quick. This is my Facebook page. Once you click on insights, and you should be able to, I don't know, it's downloading. To go to the insights page, and you can see exactly how many seconds or like people are viewing. And you can see the number of like information here. For example, I'll show you. This is the one we're doing right now.
What I do is I actually go down to videos in your sidebar of when you're actually in Insights.
Yeah, I want to try. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Yes.
Yep.
And they will give you like can show you how many seconds. Yeah.
I was going to say you mentioned before about yourself going, oh, I haven't done these things, or that was your mistake. I'd like to encourage people to think you can often, and I was guilty of this, is I wouldn't do things because I was afraid to make mistakes. Get in there, do it, because you actually are able to talk from experience. You can actually say, well, I didn't do this, or it was a mistake, because you've actually done it in the first place. So I don't look at it as mistakes. I look at it as learnings. And you've got this opportunity, if you're actually doing it, you can be in this fear of not getting it right, and therefore people don't do it. And I'd say when it comes to ads, and why I like the odd dollar a day approach is it's not huge budgets being thrown. It's something to try it out.
Absolutely.
Get the learning.
Absolutely. So you can just like click on any video, and this is what Serena was talking about. I just randomly click on video. One of the videos I did in the past, you can see like 3 seconds and how many people, and 10 seconds, and what's the average video watch time and things like that. Yeah. So this is what we are talking about, right, Serena? Like standards of excellence.
So what I was on that first page there is you can see that you were not quite hitting the 50%, but you're actually over 30 seconds of people being engaged on average. So that's quite reasonable. But I look to see if we're actually hitting, a bit higher than that. But it's not saying that. It's actually when you can start in the beginning and go, what is my goal for the content? Yeah. You can clear what you're really looking for and which metric will be more important for you.
Yeah, and when you mention 50%, I just want to reiterate to people is from here, the number of people we reach to the number of video views we have. Is that right? That one you want to achieve at least 50% of the people that you reach are actually clicked on the video. Is that right?
Right. I'd go back to the previous screen, the videos, because you're on post. I'd look at the video itself. I actually look here and I look for the 10-second video views. There's 359, and the 3-second views, which is above it, which is 887.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking to see that those 10-second views are 50% of those 3-second views, which is your total views.
Okay.
That's what for my my initial indicator. And then
okay. So more ideally that number should be like 440-ish. And then if reach that 50%, and you want to decide, okay, this is a good piece of content and I want to put a few bucks behind this piece of content. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I look. Yes. And then on the second screen you're looking at, I then look there to see shares. And then I also look to see if there's been any negative feedback. Negative feedback really restricts, you don't have any there, which is awesome, because negative feedback actually reduces your reach significantly. And there's too much negative there. I don't want to put money behind it.
Yeah. So the negative feedback is here, not necessarily the angry or upset faces, but here, like how many people actually hide your post and report as spam. Yeah. And so this is definitely a great piece of information to know. Yeah. And so basically this is where you go. All of you, this is free. I'm not even using any additional tools. The information here just comes from Facebook. And I hope showing you this is beneficial. And please let me know if this actually helps you. And I'm seeing more questions here.
Great question there, Deborah. So you're saying, do custom audiences auto update? So if I create one today to visitors going to blog page A, will it also track to blog page B next week? It depends on the rules that you set, because when you go and create those audiences, you can actually say if there've been a visit there in the last 7 days or 30 days or I think 365 days. It really, you can actually set the parameters of engagement. So you can say the 10-second views for the last 30 days as an example. So it actually depends on what you set. And when you go to create the audience, Facebook step you through that.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us, Zakia. We were just talking about you, and I hope we did answer that question. Were you able to catch the question? So do you want to explain again real quick, Serena, what is considered negative feedback?
Negative feedback is when people hide your posts, when they report your posts, and they can do like hide post or hide all. It's essentially if there's any reporting they do because they don't want to see your content. And
yeah, exactly. So you want to lower that number, because that number really, if you see that, definitely don't put money behind to run is that right?
That's it. And it's understanding that feedback is still valuable for you, because you go, well, you've got to take it in the context it's given. Like, are you actually serving your audience? Are you giving them content they want? Or is it, a way in which you can actually work with that feedback?
Yeah, I love this comment from Jessica. Like, I think last year, I was not really familiar with Facebook Ads Manager, but now I'm playing with it. There is just so much you can do. Definitely, anyone, if you are new to Facebook Ads, I definitely recommend you just play with the native insights and Ads Manager, lots of great content. And thank you for joining us, by the way, Jessica, and welcome to the show, Kimberly. Thank you so much. And we are actually just wrapping up here. And do you mind just quickly explain, Serena, the Facebook video ads sequence that you were talking about? I'm not sure if we already touched some of that, and then we can talk about your course and then wrap up.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about how I've written for Social Media Examiner, and I wrote a post specifically about how to engage with your warm audience and how to use sequenced videos to do so. One of the biggest gaps I see in people being able to do ads successfully around their warm audiences is creating enough video content. So I created a course which steps you through creating your own video content simply, without getting too caught up in what you need to be able to create it, such as the equipment and the right setting. like working with the things you have available to you for free, which ultimately is yourself and ultimately smartphone, and being able to use it. And so that's why I created this course, to get you up and running. If you feel like you aren't creating video content yet, which you really need in order to be able to do any of these things, if you can't even go in and do any ads without the content, then that is what I've done. I've created this course where it's over 3 days. You get 3 videos. Like, you get a video each day once you subscribe, and it'll come to you via Messenger, my virtual assistant, Dot the Bot, and you'll get the video and you can watch it, and you'll get a bit of homework out of it. And the idea is action, so that you're creating videos that you can then go test and learn. And through that course, it's not just about how you create the video, it's how you then look at your insights and how then you take action to optimize and make sure they're working harder for your business goals.
Yeah, thank you. I already shared Serena's article that she wrote for Social Media Examiner, which is a great article. Definitely has really a very clear graphics to help you navigate through everything I just showed you, and a lot more additional information. Maybe you can also share with us the link to check out your course, Serena. At the same time, we have there's so much we can talk about, and I just don't have enough time to chat about everything. Maybe you can quickly explain, because I know this is also my personal challenge. So how do you best target like audience segmentation, and how do you best target the audience who is going to be receiving to content?
So your audience to receive your content, initially it's starting with who you have, which is your audience, your fans. And when you put your content out there, the people who engage with your content, they're your amplifiers, and they can help you. I find once your content's engaged with, then you can build those custom audiences to then, that's how your targeting happens. If you start trying to do it before you understand who your audience is, you're going to put yourself in a situation of just throwing money away. I think especially because I do focus on working with small budgets initially, because I don't want people to waste money, and because you've got to actually be clear who you want your content to be for.
Yeah.
So I think if you try to get anything beyond that, you're actually going to get off target. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you caught the part we were talking about utilizing different audience, Zakia, like for example, customized audience. What I learned is that we really need to keep an eye on our insights to look at which piece of content is already making sense, resonating with people, and who is our fan, who is our warm audience. And you really want to discover this group of people based on your content, and then retarget the warm audience. I think that's my kind of how I go with this. Yeah. And what I would say as well, and this links back to why I created the video course, is that there can be a perception around video content being highly polished and perfect to be able to work. And I saw, it was actually in Dennis and Logan's talk, where they had a video, Isaac Irvine and the bullying, and it was a video, I think, done in his home. It was very roughly shot using an iPhone, and it performed really well. And I've tested that out myself and how things have worked for me. And a classic for me was I did a video of myself in a hospital bed. February this year, I had to get my appendix out, emergency surgery, all that fun thing. And I set a challenge to do videos myself every day, whether I share them or not, so I get used to doing videos. And I did this video sitting in the hospital bed, and I had the pasty white gown on, no makeup, hair all over the place. And this video got thousands of views organically. And it was like, oh. And then I got client inquiries from a video of me in the hospital bed. And there was nothing polished about it.
That's, yeah.
Talk about how people, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they jump into doing things like Facebook ads without actually getting diagnosis, without actually considering their talking to people who know what they're doing and
exactly
self-diagnose. And I thought, well, I talked about self-diagnosis, and I actually thought I only had a stomach cramp, and it turned out to be much, much worse. And it's realizing if you can tie what you do in your business and to what your life experience is and put yourself on camera, it's one of the most powerful things you can possibly do and most cost-effective things you can possibly do. And I've learned that myself, not just by listening to people talking about it, but listening to it and then taking action.
Yeah, definitely. I saw, like, I think one misperception people have regarding videos is that videos have to be polished, have to be like really high tech, high gear, all those things. Does not have to be. Some of, like the video I mentioned, I spent $25 and again 29K views. Was just like me at the airport, didn't sleep for like 3 days. I looked awful. I was just like, whatever. And it was a minute and a half video, and it is amazing. So don't feel discouraged by that, and rely on the analytics. Yeah,
exactly right. It's that importance of looking at our insights, and when I think that many shops at the Hoot keep creating the content, and the only way you're going to figure it out is by getting your content created, and let your audience tell you instead of you assuming what your audience thinks they want to see.
Exactly. I just saw this question, Zakia, and yes, and if you go back to watch the replay, you can see how I did a screen share of Facebook Ads Manager. You definitely want to go there to run any piece of ads and content. That was a mistake I made before. Don't make the same mistake I made, because from there you can select warm audience, much more effective than doing the cold audience. So if you go back, and you can always ask me if you have any questions. And so Suzanne was asking this, how much is the course, if you are okay to share, or you can just privately message Suzanne, and she's also looking for more information regarding this course.
The video series is free. The 3
yes,
videos is free.
I think that's, yeah.
If you can go in there, and that'll give an opportunity to just get started. What I want to see is people getting their content out there and creating the videos. And there is an opportunity there to then see how I can, help you further. But my goal is making sure that people are creating more content so that they can actually make the most of what they have available to them. And when I can see action, I create your videos and send me. I want to see them. I want to actually see you getting out there. Nothing makes me happier as an educator to see people taking action, and then we have an opportunity to be better and achieve our business goals.
Yeah, I totally agree. And did you already share the link in the comment section, Serena?
I haven't, because I intentionally from that, knowing that those of you in Australia watching will know I'm going through the joy of getting NBN installed, and I don't want my internet connection by overstraining it by jumping into Facebook and out of where we currently are. So
no problem. Yeah, just make sure you can share the link with me, and I will make sure to share the link with you, Suzanne, and so that you can have access to the information. And just to wrap up, there's so much. We didn't even have time to discuss Facebook Messenger ads, all those things. And just like there's so much we can learn about Facebook ads. So just quickly to wrap up, and what's next for you, Serena, and where can people discover more about what you do and connect with you?
Yeah, for me, I'd say what's next is I keep on doing Facebook ads and looking at making sure that they're working well. And I want to make sure that I can help in the best way I can. If you want to see my content and how I work, then I recommend do subscribe with the Messenger bot so that you can actually see. I know we didn't talk much about bots today, but think of bots as they are an opportunity to extend who we are in person. So I come from a place of making sure that they're there. You understand it's Dot the bot talking to you, who's actually helping me share my content when you get in there. And I am, if you want to see my content and learn how I work, I'd recommend, my middle name is Dorothy. So you actually see me as Serena.Ryan as my public figure page. So you'd go to Facebook/Serena.Ryan, but you'd find me on Twitter, on Instagram as that as well. And if you're looking to see how I can do an audit for you, I'm available to be able to do that as well, and I can share details. Message me, contact me, and if you're curious to see how bad my videos looked in the beginning and don't perform, by all means go through my video library on my Facebook page.
Oh, you don't have to go to Serena's page. You can just stay on my page, go to my earlier videos. I have plenty of those bad examples. I think it just shows this is a learning journey. We all have to go through this. And I share this Mobile Monkey, which is the one that I'm currently using to create a messenger chatbot for myself. This was recommended by Maurice Smith and Dennis Yu. And I recently came back from Inbound in Boston. And my number one takeaway is doing more videos on Facebook and learning more about Facebook Messenger ads and start to implement Messenger chat bots. So those are my kind of three major takeaway points, all related to Facebook. And I saw how Mike mentioned, we need to have a part 2. And yes, definitely. And there is going to be a part 2. I have someone next week. We are going to discuss live streaming, but sometime in October, I have someone to come here to discuss Facebook Messenger chatbots. So please definitely join my Facebook group so that you can stay updated with my upcoming guest information. I will share the link in the comment section. And thank you so much for an amazing session, Serena. We all learned a lot. And if those of you who missed, definitely watch and catch up on the replay because Serena shared a lot, and make sure you check out her article. And thank you everyone for joining us live. And thank you so much, Serena.
Thank you so much, Thank you everyone for tuning in, and any questions, let me know.
And thank you everyone. I hope to see you next Wednesday, the same time, same location. And we are going to discuss live streaming with a live streaming expert. See you.